All right, welcome back everyone to the deep dive. And today we're going to unpack something that's been generating a lot of buzz, especially if you're deep in your UPSC prep.
Definitely. It's one of those developments that could be really significant, particularly for mains in prelims, because it touches upon some crucial dynamics in the Indo-Pacific.
Exactly. We're talking about this idea of a squad emerging. Not the one you might be thinking of, not the Quad, but something potentially new focused on the South China Sea.
And the big question that's got everyone talking is, what about India? Is India going to join this squad?
That's the core of what we're diving into. Where did this idea come from? What are the goals? Why are they considering inviting India? And of course, what does it mean for the region, especially with China's moves?
Right, because you can't talk about anything in the South China Sea without factoring in China.
So NDTV's been doing some great reporting on this, a lot of it stemming from the Raise in a Dialogue, which, as you know, is a huge platform for these kinds of discussions.
Yeah, it's where a lot of the initial details came out, actually.
Okay, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's lay the groundwork. What exactly is this squad we're talking about?
Well, for starters, it's not some brand new thing that popped up overnight. This grouping, it's actually been around for a while.
Really? Over a year they've been at it already.
Over a year, informal but active. Think of it this way. Japan, Australia, the US, and the Philippines, they've been working together.
So the usual suspects, you might say, when it comes to Indo-Pacific maritime stuff.
Sure.
But they've been doing joint exercises, right?
Absolutely. And more than just that, General Bronner, he's the chief of the armed forces in the Philippines, he's been pretty clear about their objectives. They're looking to counter China's growing military presence in the South China Sea. They want to keep things balanced.
So for our listeners, especially those prepping for UPSC, this is a classic example of how these alliances evolve,
Yeah.
right? You have cooperation, then it formalizes into something bigger.
Exactly. And that brings us to this whole expansion idea, which is what's creating so much interest right now.
Right, because General Bronner basically said, hey, we want India and South Korea in this squad. And he said this at the Resina Dialogue, so everyone was paying attention.
Yeah, and think about who was on that panel with him. He had senior military folks from the US, Australia, Japan, India. The timing was definitely not a coincidence.
No, it was a clear signal. But to understand why the Philippines is pushing this, you have to look at it from their perspective.
Exactly. They're on the front line, so to speak. They're looking to boost their own defense capabilities, right? Deterrence is the name of the game.
And they've already been working with the squad members on things like intelligence sharing, joint exercises, even military aspects.
All of that, and it's all happening in the context of these growing tensions and confrontations with China in the South China Sea. They're feeling the pressure.
And that takes us to the elephant in the room, or maybe we should say the dragon in the sea, right? China's claims over almost all of the South China Sea, they're a huge factor.
Huge is an understatement. They basically see it as their exclusive economic zone, strategically, militarily, the whole thing.
Which, of course, goes against international maritime law. And we can't forget the 2016 ruling by that international court. They completely rejected China's claims.
Completely rejected, and yet China's just ignoring it. They're acting like it never happened. That raises some serious questions about how they view the whole rules-based global order, you know?
Definitely. And let's not forget all the other countries that have stakes in the South China Sea, Indonesia, Taiwan, Malaysia, Brunei, Vietnam. This isn't just a two-player game.
Absolutely not. And the thing is, this isn't some empty stretch of water either. We're talking about trillions of dollars in trade flowing through there annually. It's vital to the global economy.
Which is why this squad idea is so interesting. Now, back to the Philippines for a second. Their approach to India has been quite direct, wouldn't you say?
Very direct. General Bronner said it point blank, we have a common enemy, and he named China.
Wow. Straight to the point. And he talked about the potential for working together, sharing intelligence.
Right, and remember, there are existing defense ties between the Philippines and India. They're already working together on some level.
And General Bronner apparently even planned to formally invite India during his meeting with India's Chief of Defense Staff.
That was the plan, but whether it actually happened, whether that conversation took place, that's still unclear.
So, a lot of moving pieces here. But for anyone following this for their UPSC prep, the big question is, where does India fit into all of this?
Right, because for India, this is a complicated decision. Joining this squad would have a huge impact on their whole Indo-Pacific strategy.
Absolutely. They have to consider the pros and cons, weigh their existing partnerships, and figure out how this aligns with their broader goals in the region.
It's not a decision they're going to take lightly. This is high-stakes geopolitics.
So to sum it up, we've got a potential shift happening in the South China Sea, driven by worries about China's growing power and their actions. The Philippines is pushing for this expanded squad, and India is right at the center of that discussion. All of this, of course, with China's territorial claims and their disregard for that international court ruling looming in the background.
Lots to unpack, and for anyone following along, this is crucial stuff.
Absolutely. So here's something for you to think about as you continue your UPSC prep. If India does join this squad, how does that change the game in the Indo-Pacific? What are the benefits for India? What are the potential risks? Let's keep that conversation going in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you found this useful. And for more on this development, definitely check out NDTV's coverage. They've got some great in-depth reporting on this.
And until next time, keep diving deeper, everyone.